Welcome to the San Diego 40K podcast brought to you by tablewar.com. Go to tablewar.com to get yourself a half case, full case, trays, magnets, and dioramas along with tutorials on how to make them. Tablewar.com. Also brought to you by Game Empire San Diego, the place to play 40K in Southern California. My name is Danny. With me, Justin, George, and Brian. How you doing, guys?
Pretty good.
Doing pretty good.
How do you like that one? That one's good? That's good. All right. We got a lot of things to discuss. First thing on our plate would be the new 6th edition rules. Or do you want to go through the 40K tournament first?
Well, before we go through all that, we should introduce ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. My bad. We got Justin, Papa Smurf, Ultramarines.
Yeah, so my name's Justin, Papa Smurf. Play Ultramarines, Raven Guard, so pretty much mostly Power Armor Marines. I also have an IG army, and I play Necrons. Got into the game for a couple years. I've been playing in San Diego for pretty much half of the time I've been alive. And I'll go ahead and pass it on to Mr. George Tao.
Hey, I'm George Zathis. I've got 4 armies, and they're all Xeno armies. I play Tau primarily, and then Dark Eldar, Orcs, and Tyranids. I despise Power Armor armies and hate Space Marines with a passion. And I've been playing 40K for about 3 years here. Been playing mostly with the Tau, getting my lumps in before working out how to get that working. And I play a bunch of other games too, but 40K is one of my big passions. And I'll send it off to our champion converter, Brian.
Howdy, I'm Brian. I've been playing this game since like 2003. Primary army is Chaos Space Marines because they're cool. And you can do everything with the conversions with those guys. I've got a Guard army based on North Korea with Death Strike missiles. So beautiful. And the other 2 armies I have is Space Wolves and some regular Bike Marines. Because they're awesome. Power armor is the way to go. George is all wrong about his little Xenos.
Yeah, it's all about Power Armor.
Damn right.
You guys are crazy.
Alright, Danny, take it. What do you play?
Well, I've been in the game, in the hobby, for nearly 17 years now. My primary army was Imperial Guard, which I play 3 different armies. iGuard is probably my least favorite now. And the other 2 are Chaos and Dark Angels, which my primary army is Dark Angels. I like their fluff, like the way they look, and Terminators. Azrael is a pimp. Thank you.
A lot of Power Armor.
A lot of Power Armor. I love Power Armor. 3+ saves for the win. That's right.
Whatever, I'll take my toughness 3 5-up save, and I'll whoop your guys with it.
Wait a second. What's the save on a Tau Battlesuit?
That's a 2-up save, man.
No, man.
No, it's
The
3
save on a
3-up
Tau
save.
battle. The Tau battle suits are what happens when a superior alien race takes 2 Space Marines, super glues them together, and then lets it move like a flying Terminator.
Also known as Gundam Wing.
Don't you diss Gundams.
Alright, so we had a lot of things happening this past weekend. We had our 40K GT, brought to you by The Defe. And it was pretty interesting. We had 3 or 4 people playing it. I played my Dark Angels. And what did you guys play? I said Brian had his Chaos. Justin, you had your iGuard?
I had my Imperial Guard.
How did you guys like the way...
Yeah.
I think overall the tournament went pretty well. I did have some gripes with... Well, not many gripes, but I had a gripe with how the sportsmanship, the painting, and the overall battle points were put together. I can see the battle points and sportsmanship being put together for overall, but I don't think painting should have had that much of an effect based on how the painting was scored. It was player-based painting, so essentially every player had a 5 point, 4 point, 3 point, 2 point, and 1 point to assign to a player that they played for both sportsmanship and painting. And so it kind of gimps some armies. So like say if a person played like 5 beautiful painted armies, he had to rank them 5 through 1. And so even if somebody had like a 5-star painted army, he was going to get a 1. Only because he had to face that one guy who faced like 4 other beautifully painted armies. So I think that was one of my only really big gripes. Sportsmanship I think was okay. because at least it would be a little bit nitpicky. You're basing it on how the game was played, so obviously you'll have a best played game in comparison to like maybe a not so best painted game. But I think the painting should have been scored a little bit differently.
Yeah, the reason the painting thing doesn't really work out so much is because it kind of makes the painting scores you get a lot more dependent on your opponent's matchups than on how nice your army is actually painted. Like, if I've got a tabletop-ready army, but the other 4 guys my opponents played were all, still out-of-the-box gray, then I'm going to get the 5 points in painting, even though the person that has the beautifully painted Golden Demon Winner painted army would also get 5 points. I just don't think that's the correct way to judge painting.
Yeah.
I agree with both points, but you're going to run into problems when you have that one player or maybe multiple players who has a bad game against you, and they want to score you low, and they want to gimp you, like they give you a 1 or 2 in sportsmanship. And since they played you, you could have a 6-star painted army. They're going to give you a 1 anyways because they don't want you to win. And on the other hand, painting should be something totally different, not even part of your score. There should be a whole different section for that, best painted, and it should be looked at by other people who are not in the tournament, because then you get unbiased views about how the army actually looks. And the other way, and another thing is about the percentages, the 60-20-20, it's kind of weird because I think the tournaments especially should be more towards the how you did in the tournament rather than your painting is good and you get all these soft scores and you may have been like middle of the pack type player, but your soft scores get boosted up and then you get 2nd or 3rd overall or even overall, which is weird.
Yeah, like the Bay Area Open, how it has you're playing in 3 different events. You have your painted score. You also have win-loss, so it's not like relying on all the battle points. It's if you won the game, good. If you lost the game, whatever. If you drew, that's fine. And then the Bay Area has 3 events. You can get best painted, thumbs up, thumbs down for best sportsman, and then you got win-loss for overall. And that's it. Unlike this event where you could pretty much lose your games and get tons of soft scores like I did and score in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, and then another thing, we could even take sportsmanship completely out of it, because then you get people who are bad sports or they just want to give you a bad thing because they had a bad game or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it should be just straight how you did in a tournament. That should be whoever gets overall. Painting should be a completely different thing, and that's it.
Well, no, you can't call it an overall score if you're just basing it off of battle points. I think what you're arguing for is to have the tournaments basically separated into 3 separate brackets where you have like a soft scores, painting, and sportsmanship, and then you have the battle points separately. But I feel like the problem in that scenario is there's no incentive for a lot of players then to paint their army up to look well, because they just say, well, I'm not going to win painted anyway, so why don't I just have them walk onto the table, barely have 3 colors on them, and try and win the battle points score. It's more of the score is to emphasize the fact that this is a hobby, not just a game system.
Yeah, well then the way you get around that is you can't win overall if your army isn't at least painted and based.
Well, that's what you're going to get, at least. And no one wants the winning armies, or even no one wants any armies to not look good. You want to have some incentive, some reason for players to come in and have these beautiful armies.
Show off their army.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, then you can have something where, at least with the Best General Award and stuff like that they had before, that was just based on battle points. You have your Sportsmanship Award, you have your Painting Award, and your Best Overall is a combination of all 3 put together.
Yeah, one of the things I didn't really like about the scoring structure in this tournament is, while I really did like that there was 1st, 2nd, and 3rd overall, there was no Best General score, so 2 of the players with the highest battle scores ended up winning nothing, which didn't seem quite right to me. I would have liked to see the Best General in there somewhere. As sort of a catch-all, if the player who did really good had a poorly painted army, that sort of scenario.
I see. That's a good point.
Yeah. Because I think the overall score should be overall, that's the big title winner. I think that should have all the scores included, but I also think that separating the other 3 and giving a Best General, a Best Sportsman, and Best Appearance, I think that's a good system just to make sure that everybody gets,
something.
the best of any spot gets with the recognition they deserve.
That's true. I like that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, one of the things I did like about the tournament too was just to give everybody a chance to take something home. Was they offered like door prizes and like random roll prizes. So like, I mean, Dave was pretty much walking around and then handing prizes over to people that like would randomly get something. I think it was like a book that was given to somebody. I
got disconnected.
Danny got disconnected from the call.
Okay.
All right, folks, we're going to have some technical difficulties. We'll be back in just a second.
We'll just take a break right there.
Okay, take a break, and then we'll come back.
Hi guys, this is Brittany here to tell you all about the great products now available from Tableware. Designed for the display, storage, and light transport of hobby models and miniatures, these products do it brilliantly. I've seen firsthand how well these products work, and let me tell you, these guys have thought of everything. It starts with the Tableware display tower cases. These towers are the centerpiece of the system. Inside the case, the Tableware railing and display boards combine to allow you to securely arrange your miniatures however you like. Diorama and unit trays then fit snugly within the display boards, all to meet your needs. If these needs change, no problem. Simply rearrange your boards and trays. The result is a stunning look with amazing function. Whether you're taking it to a tournament, your local game store, or just to your buddy's house, the Tableware tower cases allow you to arrive with everything and get to playing quickly. So what are you waiting for? Visit them at tableware.com or at the Tableware fan site on Facebook.
Tableware is a registered trademark of Tableware Designs Inc. Field patent pending.
All right, and we're back after some technical difficulties. It's our second podcast here, guys, so cut us some slack. All right, so where were we?
Yes, where were we?
Player-based painting scores.
Mm-hmm. Player-based painting and soft scores
Yes.
in the tournament scene.
In tournaments.
For
Yeah,
those
'cause
of
our
you
losers-
who are a little confused about how the scoring was working for this tournament, there was you could give up to 5 possible points per each player for sportsmanship and painting, but you could only give 1 of each score out. So you played 5 opponents, so someone would have to get a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. You'd have to distribute 1 of those to each of your opponents. So the maximum soft score for each category was 25.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, another problem with that would be collusion. Like if you played 2 of your friends and they gave you 5s on both, even if you didn't have a fully painted army, and they happen to play against other people who did well in the tournament, they could give them 0s or 1s and be like, you know what, I'm boosting you up with these soft scores. So that could be a problem also.
Right, and it would make sense for sportsmanship because you're going to have a good time playing your buddies, and that's understandable. But
Yeah.
for something like painting, I guess it's like we said, we'd really prefer a uninvested third party.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, like a dedicated painting judge.
Or
Yeah,
people
dedicated
who,
painting
Nice.
judge.
or people who
I mean-
just worked at the store, they gave their opinions on it.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean-
let's talk about the results now. So, first place, the Mighty Footdar, as they're called.
Mighty
by
football.
Reese Robbins, also known as Reese's on the internet. And then we had Russ Anderson as second place with his orcs, and Shane Habermassi also got second place with his orcs. So, looks like the internet got told to shut up and go home on this one.
Oh yeah, Orcs taking it, Foot Eldar.
But
Yeah.
Eldar, Grey
We-
Knights, nowhere to be seen in the overall.
We didn't have the top 3 or 4 armies, which would be Grey Knights, Eyguard, Space Wolves, and Blood Angels. Nowhere near the top.
But what's interesting to note is that we only had 2 Imperial Guard players, and what is that? 4 Grey Knight players. So, really varied amount of armies here at this GT.
And a very, very hard skill set altogether with all these players in it, too. Very, very good opponents.
Yeah,
Yes.
we had a lot of really strong opponents.
Yes, I think with the vast amount of players that were in this tournament, only about less than a third of these players probably ranked lower than above average. Everybody else was pretty much above average or higher skill set wise for playing games.
Mm-hmm.
Along with a bunch of tournament winners and people who have advanced far in different set of tournaments, like the Ard Boys and a bunch of different ones.
Yeah, we had Jeff Zakin, who got to the Art Boys finals a few years ago, and we had